மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.
The next irregular imbalance that we're going to look at is the one in which one of the sides is having queen and the other side is having a rook, for example, a pawn and a knight, or instead of a knight, a bishop. So a light piece, a rook and a pawn, and this one is called the Lasker Compensation. The reason for that was that back in 1925, Emanuel Lasker performed a similar idea, and this is the most famous case in which it was played. In his game against Ilyin Zhenevsky, I had to answer this question during my university exam for going into the National Sports Academy. One of the assistants asked me what exactly is Lasker Compensation. I wasn't sure, but since I have been lucky, I had just read the book about Lasker some days ago, and I said, okay, in this game, Lasker sacrificed his queen for the pawn, the rook, and the bishop, and this was the right answer. Let's have a look at this famous game in which Lasker is playing with the black pieces, and the opening went very well for Ilyin Zhenevsky, Russian master and a dangerous opponent of that time, but Lasker needed to win this game desperately in order to catch up with the leaders in the tournament and to keep good winning chances. The natural development of the game would be queen takes d2, but after rook takes d2, white is having a very obvious and very nice play. He's going to double the rooks on the d file, and he's going to exert pressure against the pawn on d6. This bishop can come on e3, the knight is ready to jump on b5. All in all, it's going to be unrisk play for the win. Instead of that, typically for him, he decided to unbalance the situation, and he took on a2. Various historical sources say that Ilyin Zhenevsky couldn't really understand what's going on, and he thought that Lasker just blundered the queen. So after rook a1, queen takes b2, rook f, b1, indeed the queen is trapped. But this is only the beginning of the game, as even technically speaking, a rook, a bishop, and a pawn, if we calculate 5 pawns plus 3 pawns plus 1 pawn, this should be 9 pawns. It's pretty much the same as the queen. True, in this particular situation, the queen is slightly better, as the pieces didn't yet occupy nice outposts. They are not attacking anything, but in the following play, Lasker proved to be the better player simply. The game continued with rook f d8. He's bringing the pieces in the center. White correctly played c4. Black played knight e8. And after f4, he prepared counterplay on the queen side with a6, king h1. The other thing that white could have done, and probably it was better, to bring the knight on e3. That was a good plan. From e3, the knight would be controlling the d5 square, thus making it difficult for the second player to create a lot of counterplay, even though after b5, cb5, ab5, rook c1, bishop f6, queen d3, rook a8, knight e takes knight e to d4, the position remains slightly better for white, but it's quite playable. I don't really think that black should be losing this one, but of course white shouldn't be losing this one neither. King h1, back to the game. Now knight c7, queen e3, rook b8. Black is consistently playing on the queen side. Rook d1, knight jumped on b4, queen c3, a5. So now we have the knight on a good outpost. Rook a1. Only here white starts to make mistakes, and he's losing the path. Instead of that, knight c2 was to be preferred. And after b6, the main mistake in this game was queen to e3, which allowed black a chance to play on the squares in which he holds the bishop. And again, instead of this move, he could have played better. This is the move, say rook d1, intending to meet bishop f6 with queen e3. When after b5, the position is equal, say e5 takes, bishop e7, queen f4, trying to create counter threats. Bishop e8, knight c3, and after bc4, knight c to a6. The game will still continue. Black will bring his knight on a5, but most likely white is controlling the situation. He is not any worse here. While in the meanwhile, queen e3 gave a chance for black to attack many things with the move e5, and after knight f5, bishop takes f5, pawn takes f5, knight c2. Not only did he won the exchange, and now he has two rooks and a pawn for the queen, which is a big advantage, but his bishop is much more active on f6, and the game ended rather quickly in Lasker's favor. Queen g1, d5, cd5, knight d5. He's opening the roads for his rooks. g4, f6. This bishop is dominating the board at the moment. That's why it was protected like that. h4, b5. Now the passer comes into the action. Knight d4, knight d3. Queen takes, rook takes, and the rooks are also coming. So this is basically the end of the game. After a4, h5, a3, queen e2, rook b to d8. White has no defense against the threat rook d1 check, followed by rook 8 to d2, winning the queen, because if he takes on d1, this pawn would be promoted, and therefore he resigned. By the way, the other threat was rook d2, followed by a2 and a1 anyway. So this is the game which gave the name of the whole material balance, and since then it is known as the Lasker Compensation.
மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.